good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are. And you are welcome once again to the Relationship, Love and Marriage Show, the RLM Show. Join us on Facebook, Baptist Ghana, and on YouTube, the First Baptist Church, Kumasi, Akotialai. My name is Richard, and I'll be your host for today. And with me today, I have Mr. Jeff Labi, or Mr. Jeff Olabi. Thank you and welcome today.
Thank you very much, Mr. Richard.
And today we'll be discussing communication in courtship. Communication in relationship, sorry. So without wasting much time, Mr. Jeff, when we talk about communication in relationship, what comes in mind? What is communication in relationship?
Well, basically, there's no. Let me put it this way: there's no one accepted definition or one binding answer to this question that will say, okay, this is only what communication is about. But basically, since we are talking about communication, it has to do with both partners having time for each other to delve into issues about anything concerning the relationship, which has to do with, be it finance, be it the spiritual life, since we are Christians, be it the spiritual life, anything concerning the relationship. So basically, it has to do with having an effective and efficient way of sharing information between the two of you, because it's very paramount. If there's no communication in relationship, not even in a relationship, wherever we find ourselves, so far as we exist, we have to communicate with each other.
Okay.
So, in as much as communication is important in every setting, so is it very, very important in our lives, and much more in a relationship. So basically, that's what it is about. I will say it's the efficient and effective way of sharing information and ideas about anything that has to do with the relationship.
Okay, thank you very much. Sharing information between the both parties.
Yes, and it has to be efficient and effective.
Okay, thank you very much for that definition. So, how important is it, communication in relationship? When you guys, how is it important? How important? What are the importance of communication in relationship?
Well, there are a lot, but let me pick the essential ones I think will help all of us today. Now, as I said earlier on, it has to be effective and it has to be efficient. One of the benefits of it is that it helps the partners to know each other very well. Because if you don't communicate often, you are not going to know about each other the more. And when there's a gap in communication, then there will be problems. So when you communicate often, one of the things is that it helps you to know even where the relationship is going, because it's more or less like a newborn baby with the mother. When there's not that kind of let's say feeding from the mom, let's say a newborn child needs breast milk to be able to grow. That's what it needs. That's what the baby needs at that early stage of life. So at that point in our relationship, we need to communicate often so that we can even know where the relationship is heading on. Another benefit of it is that it helps you to know what is right and what is wrong. Because you can't just be in a relationship and be thinking that, okay, everything is going on well. Maybe there are some things that your partner is doing that you don't like. If there is no effective and efficient communication, there are going to be issues, because there needs to be the time where both of you have to sit down. Okay, these are some of the things you are doing that I think is not going to help our relationship. Okay, so I think going forward, if you do this, if you do that, it's going to make our relationship more lovely. If you do this, I think it's going to ruin our relationship. So those are some of the advantages of communication in our relationship. It helps us to know ourselves much more. And it helps us to know the direction in which the relationship is going, as to whether it's going to work or not. So those are some of the benefits I would say that are in in a relationship when you communicate. It's very, very important. If you don't communicate, there are going to be a lot of issues. I know that there are instances whereby the reason why, let's say, some relationship don't work is because the partners don't have time for each other. You see, the relationship is not only about just saying that I love you, just buying the gift. There need to be some time where you need to sit down, you need to talk. As we discussed last week about distant relationship, and I know with one of the things the speaker said was that communication should be very, very important. Communication is very, very key. So whatever that you do in our relationship, we must make sure we don't lose sight of communication. It's very, very important.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Jeff. So, lovely viewers, as you have heard from my guest, Mr. Jeff, communicating very well in your relationship it helps you to know where the relationship is heading. So, as the saying goes, Mr. Jeff, too much of everything is bad. Too much of communication, too much of communicating with your partner, I mean, can it just ruin everything?
I wouldn't say necessarily to ruin the relationship, but there's supposed to be a limit to everything that we do. You get a point? And most of the time too, it depends on the substance of what you are saying. You know, communication is not only about you just speaking. What are you saying? If you are communicating right now, as we are having this discussion, if our viewers or those who are watching us don't understand, there's no communication. Because the end result of communication is that the recipient, the person receiving the information, should understand what they're saying. So if you're in a relationship and the communication is not going on well, the person receiving the communication might not understand. You are saying different thing, your partner is also saying a different thing. So you need to understand each other. So both of you need to understand what you are saying. So it shouldn't just be about just talking. What are you talking about? Do you get a point? So if you are talking about, let's say, how to improve your relationship, both of you have to come to a compromise. Because as you are in the relationship, you all have your differences. You all have some of the things that you are holding on to. Let me say the values, the beliefs, and the perceptions. So when you are having a communication, all these things comes to mind, or they come on board. So if you don't compromise in some way, the communication is not going to be effective. Do you get a point? So it's not only about just having the communication. What are you talking about? What they are talking about, is it something that is going to help the relationship grow? Is it something that is going to help you improve on your relationship? Is it something that is going to make your relationship better? Or is it something that is going to worsen your relationship? So it's not just about talking or just calling and taking your phone or just texting and all those stuff. There might be some individuals in a relationship who might not really talk about something that will make their relationship grow. Every day is just about I love you, I love you. That's not, it's part of the communication, but it should go beyond that. Where are we heading towards to? What are some of the things we can do to make sure we have an effective and efficient relationship? We've been in a relationship for, let's say, 2 years. What have been the ups and downs? We are facing challenges. How do you overcome those challenges? Why is it that each and every time we face challenges, our relationship is not going on well? You have to sit down. You have to communicate about all these things. So it's not, the communication not only about the I love you moment and I love you, all those kind of things. It should go beyond that. Do you get the point? So I wouldn't necessarily say too much of communication in a relationship was going to ruin the relationship. You have to have a limit too about what you are talking about. So it's not just about the I love you stuff. Go beyond that. Okay, maybe if you know this relationship is going to end up in a marriage, how are you going to, how many children are you going to have? Our finances, how are you going to do all those kind of things? So those are some of the things that you need to talk about. And if you are talking about these things, I don't think it's going to ruin the relationship. But the key thing and the most important thing is that it has to be efficient and it has to be effective.
Okay, thank you very much. It has to be efficient. But Mr. Jeff, I still think too much of communicating in a relationship can ruin it in such a way that maybe, although you guys can set a limit, but sometimes your partner might be obsessed with you.
Yes.
And, that can just make the other partner be fed up,
Yes. As individuals, we are all different. You might be in a relationship whereby your partner is outgoing. You might be in a relationship whereby you are that kind of an introvert. You don't like opening up.
Yeah.
And when you get someone who is outspoken, the person likes talking. Like he just wants to, each and every time the person wants to say something. You must find the ways and means to give a listening ear to your partner. Do you get a point? Yes. Maybe the person might be boring. Do you get a point? So at times maybe the kind of conversation he or she is even bringing on board is not appealing to hear. Do you get a point? But that's why you are in a relationship, and that's where communication comes in. Okay, I've realized that each time you're having a conversation, it's like you are just going overboard, or we are not. I'm not getting what you are saying. It's all part of the communication. So you have to draw the attention of the person.
Okay.
That it's like each and every time you're having a conversation, I don't really get what you are talking about. You are talking about different thing, and I'm also talking about a different thing. It's also part of the communication. So you have to draw your partner's attention. But personally, I don't know what people out there are thinking about, but I don't think too much of a communication in a relationship can ruin the relationship. It's very, very important. It's very, very important. I might not have any empirical evidence, but what I can say is that there are instances whereby a lack of communication has ruined many relationships. It has made some relationship not to work at all. So going forward, we should make sure that communication is a very, very essential part of our relationship. It's like the relationship between the food, the body, and the body and food. We need the food to be able to make sure our body is in good shape. We need to eat to have a healthy system. You get a point? So without communication, let's just imagine if you're in a relationship and don't communicate, how is it going to work?
No,
it's not going to work. So we really, really need it. We really, really need communication in our relationship.
Okay, we need it, as Mr. Jeff is saying. Thank you very much, Mr. Jeff. So what are some of the ways, how do I communicate? What are some of the ways when it comes to communication in relationship? What are some of the ways? Like how? Are there any type of ways, special ways, or to communicate?
Well, I read a book. I've forgotten the author. I think the title was Things. If my memory serves me right, Things I Knew Before Getting Married. Also, I've forgotten. It was written. I read it I think somewhere last year, and the person was talking about some of the let's say was talking about some love languages.
Okay.
To get a point. Now you need to study the mood of your partner. Most of the times the person is not in the mood to talk.
Okay.
The person wants to be alone, maybe as a result of what the person has had in the day, or the person is going through some personal issues. You need to study the mood of the person. In that instant, the person is not in the right frame of mind to engage in let's say in a conversation.
Okay.
If you don't take care, the person is going to transfer, let's say, the anger the person has had, or let's say the emotions the person is having as a result of what he or she is going through, into the communication.
Okay.
So you realize that you are talking to the person is physically present with you, but the mind of the person is not there.
Yeah.
You have to even prompt the person that it is you that I'm talking to.
Okay.
So first of all, as part of the ways, study the mood of the person you want to engage in a conversation with.
Okay.
Do you get a point? Then you also have to know, are you in a good mood to talk?
Okay.
Do you get a point?
Like, are you going to ask the person?
You see, it depends. Let's say if you normally meet each other in person, like physically, you can study the mood, because let's say if you've been in a relationship with someone for long, and you see the person that the person is moody, and even if you are not in a relationship, in our daily encounters, you realize that people and someone's attitude has changed. So you know. So in those instances, okay, this is what I want us to talk about. But I realize you are kind of moody this evening, or today you are not in your good shape.
Okay.
Can we still talk? Do you get a point? If the person says no, then you should know that, okay, the person is not ready to talk. But if you are still insisting, the person might not give you a listening ear.
Okay.
Because maybe the person has had a bad day already, or maybe the person is not willing to talk at all.
Okay.
Then if you go ahead and you are still talking, the person wouldn't enjoy the relationship.
In a bad mood.
Bad mood.
Yeah.
So it all has to do with you studying the mood of the person.
Okay.
And at times, as I said, know the interest of the person. The person likes to talk about politics. Okay, so today, do you even hear about what went on about the election? The person likes to talk about music. The person likes to talk about yes, like any. So know what the person likes to talk about.
Okay.
Do you get the point? So because maybe you've known the person for quite a long time, so know what interests
the person.
The person. So those are some of the things that you can, the ways you can go about our communication.
Okay.
Because you can't just come and sit down and you are going to just talk about anything. You have to know the interests of the partners involved, so that when you are initiating the conversation, the person will really enjoy it. And you also have to learn new things.
Okay.
Learn new things, because you see, we are in a world where if you don't learn, you die. When I say you die, I'm not talking about the physical death. Like your mind will be shallow.
Okay.
So let's read more, know more about how to communicate with each other.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That's very deep. Very, very, very deep. So let's just appreciate our sponsors. Mr. Jeffer, just a minute. Let's appreciate our sponsors. For all your continental and local dishes, pastries and cakes, contact Addis Kitchen on 0242 322 754. 0242 322 754. Also, for all your sewing accessories and mobile money, contact Mr. Solomon on 0244 520 266. 0244 520 266. Lisbon Ventures will always give you all the quality of and types of drinks and water as well. Call them on 0242 322 140. 0242 322 140. So, Mr. Jeff, now, God forbid I'm not dumb and deaf. So let's say I'm dumb and deaf. Okay, let's say someone is dumb and deaf. Then maybe the person is in a relationship. How is the person going to communicate with his or her partner? Are there any special way maybe? So what can you tell the person to help those people who
Before I answer your question, let's take it from this angle. Is it, well, I'm imagining how, let's say, someone who at birth wasn't deaf and dumb, but later became deaf and dumb. So you come to that. But let's say, are you trying to say, let's say, even before you entered the relationship, let's say you knew that this person was deaf and dumb, and you still went ahead to be in the
maybe the person went for the beauty.
Okay. Well, this is a very I really don't know how you go out, but well, maybe the person can read and write.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe the person can read and write, so maybe you can make use of that avenue to write some
things.
Anything that, yes, and we are in a modern world too.
Yeah.
The person is deaf and dumb. There's phone, so you can be texting. Do you get a point? And I think if since it's a relationship, and I know in relationship it comes to sacrifice. Yeah. It comes to sacrifice. So you have to do some sacrifices. I don't know, but I think there's a way in which I think that's personally for me. What I think for now is maybe the writing, be it on the sheet of paper or the phone. I think, to me, I think that would be the only way I'll propose. I don't know if there are
other. They have science too. They can do some.
Yes, that's a good one. So you can sacrifice. Maybe you don't know how to do it. Maybe so you can enroll in a school.
Okay.
Just for the sake of your partner.
Okay.
To go and learn those sign languages. Yes. So you can enroll in a school. Then you learn about those sign languages for the benefit of your partner. Yes.
Wow. Okay. So guys, you've heard it. If you know you are dumb and deaf, and maybe you are in a relationship with someone who is not, it's just sacrifice. You just have to sacrifice a lot more for, because it's a relationship, and you have no choice than to sacrifice. So, will you say, if all these things you do them well, communicating very good, you've studied your partner, reading their body languages and signs and stuff, is it going to lead in marriage? Is it guaranteed that it's going to lead in marriage?
Well, as a young individual, as a young individual, one thing that I've come to realize that there's no perfect marriage, there's no perfect relationship.
Okay.
As this goes on by and by, you are perfecting. Today there will be this challenge. Tomorrow there's going to be this challenge. So till you marry, the challenges are there.
Yeah.
Do you get a point?
Yeah.
There are different kind of challenges each and every relationship faces.
Okay.
I'm just using an example. Maybe if we are in a relationship, and please mind you, not a male and male relationship. I'm just using an example, a male and female. Because now, if you are talking, you need to be specific because of where the world is now.
Yeah,
so let's say my
partner, your
yes,
partner.
my host is a male and I'm a female.
Okay.
You get a point. The challenges that we might be facing might be different from the challenge that another partner or a different set of partner will be facing in a relationship. So it leading into marriage, you might have a good relationship.
Okay.
But when it gets into marriage, you'll be even shocked. You'll be taken aback as to, so this was how this person was.
Yeah.
Do you get the point? Yes. So it ending in marriage is, I would say, it's a subjective issue, because if you don't communicate often, you see, whether you like it or not, there are some things that, consciously or unconsciously, both partners will hide from each other. You realize that when you get into the marriage, that's when you realize that so this was how this person was. So maybe at times the communication can help you know, as I said, know yourself much more. Do you get a point? So marriage, relationship, courtship, pre, post, all of them, the communication must go on.
Okay.
It must go on.
Okay.
Because if it doesn't go on, there are going to be consequences.
Okay.
There are going to be consequences.
Okay.
So that's it. That is what communication do.
All right.
We just have to be doing it. And there are some people, they are not good communicators. You also have to learn how to communicate. Do you get a point? You have to learn how to communicate. And in communication, there's something we call noise. When there is noise, it distracts the communication.
Okay.
So it's not everything that you say. Maybe you might think, okay, we've known each other for some time now. So whilst you are talking, like, maybe whilst your partner is serious, you are joking. Do you get a point? Yes. You need to, you should know the time that you have to joke and the time that you need to be serious in your communication. So all these things counts in our relationship. Okay. If you are dealing about communication.
Wow. Thank you, Mr. Jeff. You have to be dynamic.
Yes.
So, Jeff, now, I'm kind of a guy, maybe I'm too shy. I don't like talking too much. Even when it comes to the crowd, I can't express myself. Even if I want to go and watch football, then I see the crowd, I'll just pull back. I don't, I'm just this kind of guy that wants to mind his business, wants to be in his own corner. How are you going to help, like, those kind of people? How do you help them in communicating to their partners?
Well, I think with those kind of individuals, you should try as much as possible to get a partner who is not like you. Yes, because if you're a guy or a lady and you are shy, you don't communicate often, and you are in a relationship with the same person, there are going to be issues. Because you might be sitting there and, like, it will surprise you, you will not be talking to each other. It will be as if you are at loggerheads. But if you are that kind of a person, the description you just gave, you must try as much as possible to get a partner who is
talkative.
Yes, more or less like a talkative, because that person is going to help you a lot. At times, even if you don't feel like not talking, it's not like you are moody or you are in a bad mood. The person will just force you.
Yeah, just create something.
Yes, because each and every one of us, we all have interest, something that will tickle us, even when we are not in a good mood. The moment that thing is sparked, you come to life. You get a point? Yeah. So if you get a partner, that's why knowing what your partner wants and what your partner doesn't want is very important. So if you are like someone, the description you just gave, you must make sure that you get someone who is not like you, and you also have to help yourself. Try as much as possible not to be an introvert. try as much as possible to be outspoken, to learn how to communicate. You should know yourself. So being alone isn't the best option.
Okay.
Not saying I'm shy. Yes, there are some individuals who are shy, but when it comes to relationship, you can't say you are shy. What are you shy about? Shy about your own partner? Are you shy about talking about your future in the relationship and how it is going to and help the two of you? So you don't just be in a relationship like that. It's not going to help.
Okay.
Because maybe it might even upset the other partner.
Yeah.
Do you get the point? Because when he or she knows when we are about communicating, or let's say I come to you, like, I'm not going to be happy, we are just going to sit down looking at each other faces. Do you get the point? It's going to upset your other partner, and that's not going to be the best thing. So you must try as much as possible to help yourself, and your partner should be able to also help you too.
Okay. So guys, if you know you are that type that